Hey everyone, and welcome back to Aaron Limitless. Today we are resuming part 10 of 22 of the Sims 4 Modern Mansion build. And today we are working on the upstairs hallway slash landing. So essentially, if you haven't already seen this video, welcome. Or any of my videos for that matter, welcome. For anybody that's watched previous videos, welcome back. So when we started building this house, I knew I wanted to do something kind of grand for upstairs. The downstairs, I didn't exactly have the grand entranceway the way I wanted it to. It's really big and nice, but because of the way the stairs are in The Sims 4, there wasn't really a way to make that grand entryway the way I wanted to. So I decided I would make kind of a really cool hallway and land an entranceway when you got upstairs. So essentially I wanted it to anchor the upstairs hallway and the rest of the rooms upstairs. So I wanted it to definitely be bigger than I guess a typical hallway would be, even for a house this size. But I also wanted it to kind of be, you know, very open, kind of cozy at the same time and intimate. People probably won't use this room that much, but I figured that, you know, it would look really cool the way I have it. So essentially right now I'm just kind of doing double duty right now with the upstairs. I was kind of just building the hallways just because I figured I'm doing it right now. I might as well get that part done for later on so I don't have to think about it. But now you can see I'm trying to figure out lighting. So many of these are meant for like 2-story lighting fixtures. So it was kind of a little bit of a hassle for me to find something that was grand, but that would actually work in there. So in the end, I decided to do a whole bunch of recessed lighting to just light the area better. And it was simple because these ceilings up on this floor aren't as high as downstairs. I could have made it higher, but I just didn't like the way. I didn't want the house to be too tall. So these ceilings are a little bit shorter, which are like still like 10 feet. So they're pretty high, but compared to downstairs, like 20 something feet, relatively speaking, it probably is going to look a lot smaller. So I put some more in there just to see if it made any much of a difference. It didn't. So now we are just going through to figure out other stuff. So I definitely wanted it to be like a seating area. And this was completely not planned. I kind of just played around with it until I found something that I liked. So as you can see, I'm trying out different couches and whatnot. This one took a lot longer to do just because I had to figure out exactly how I wanted it to look, and then a specific way I wanted it to be originally wasn't going to fit the right way, so I changed things around. But as you can see right here, I'm going to eventually end up moving everything because it just didn't line up with what I wanted to be able to do. So as you can see now, I'm trying to find some kind of table to put, and even with the forced object code put in, it wouldn't have fit in there correctly. So I kind of had to really think about how I wanted to make everything fit. So then I thought about trying to make it bigger or try to put smaller furniture in, but I knew I wanted those specific couches. So I ended up just switching everything back around, which ended up actually working a lot better because I was able to get exactly what I wanted and still have space at that point. So that actually ended up working out really nice. I wanted there to be a lot of symmetrical to this part of the house. Even though I'm not huge, I'm making things match. At the same time, for this, it kind of just made sense because it is such a large area to fill for a, you know, quote unquote room that you really aren't going to use. So it's kind of one of those things where it was like, I wanted it to look very kind of high end, very like professionally done, but at the same time I wanted it to be a cozy spot where if somebody wanted to sit and read a book by themselves or just, you know, kind of hang out in a non-dedicated room, they could. And obviously I wanted it to look really nice, you know, when people did come through. So because I do have a home office up here, which it was built in a previous video you can check out if you want, I figured this would be kind of like a cool, funky wait-in area for people to wait if I had like clients for whoever in the game ends up getting this house. So as you can see now, I'm putting some lights in, some different plants. Moving on to the artwork. I'm so excited to use this artwork. I just felt like it fit perfectly, even though the size I had to make smaller because it just was too big because, like I mentioned, the ceilings not being as high up here. But I love the way they came out. So I can't wait to find more artwork to download into the game. Pretty much everything you see here, other than maybe the flowers and the end tables, I think is all custom content, guys. So be aware of that. I didn't have a chance to link it because this stuff was actually downloaded quite a while ago. But I might eventually put up my folder online, maybe on Google or something, or somewhere I can share with you guys if you do decide you would like a lot of my custom content in the game. I'm going to definitely spend a couple hours in a few weekends when I have the chance to go through and download a whole bunch more custom content just to add more into the game. I had a lot already, but I kind of wanted to see how I could build with it and how it operated in the game. And virtually, because I was so anal retentive about making sure nothing was, with spam or viruses, and that everything worked each time I downloaded, I didn't want to add any more to it because it did take a while. But yeah, I'll definitely add more on, because I'm sure there'd be some of you that would be interested in being able to get this for your game. Because even if you download the house, probably a good at least half of the stuff in the house wouldn't be available because it is custom CC. But yeah. So now I'm trying to figure out a rug. I like the floors, but I feel like I had to have some kind of rug just to anchor the space in there. Sorry for the jump in voiceover. I had to edit out a good chunk because I sat there trying to figure out what I wanted to do next for almost 2 minutes, even with it sped up. So I wanted to cut that out there just because I didn't want to add 2 more minutes to the video for you guys. So now I'm just putting more up there, trying to decide if I wanted it to match the other wall or if I wanted to switch something or go along with the same style. So as you can see, I'm trying to line it up to see if I want it to be higher or lower. Now I'm trying to figure out what to do for the back area, if I wanted to put shelving up there, some kind of table or display case. So I ended up just trying to go for something very minimalistic at the same time, but also kind of to make it artistic in its own kind of way. So now going through here, putting some more artwork up. Again, this stuff is custom content, so I really love the person that put this up. I actually have used her content a lot for a lot of my artwork. She just came up with such a good style for between the general smaller pieces and these big pieces of art that are on the wall already. So some of them are lean-in, which works in certain situations, but obviously for this room, I wanted to be very simplistic, so I wanted everything to actually be physically on the wall. So now I'm playing with a couple of pieces of art, just kind of seeing what I like. Realized after the fact that those were actually wall outlets for plugs. I'm guessing they're European plugs, so they're definitely not in the States. Going through, trying to figure out what to do with here. Every time I do any kind of artwork pieces in a game, I always feel like it takes forever. It eats up such a long piece because not only trying to figure out which ones to do, but moving them to see how they look once you put it up. Sometimes the idea you have doesn't pan out, doesn't look the way you want it to, but this one worked actually pretty well. I would have liked the white to have blended a little bit better, but sometimes with the shadows and whatnot in the game, it's hard to get it exactly perfect, but overall, I still like the way it looks. So still trying to go with the whole symmetrical kind of style where everything matches on both sides. Now, I think I wanted to play with doing some sofa benches behind it, which I liked the way it looked, to be honest. But my only issue was it was starting to feel a little cluttered to me, so I ended up not doing it. But I would have loved to have been able to use it just because I feel like it really does make it kind of its own little personal space having those. So now I was trying to find some kind of footstool to put in there as well. That one kind of felt a little big, so I kind of made it smaller. I felt like that kind of worked pretty well. This is the set for that one, but I was trying to do pillows and stuff at this point. But it's really hard to try to get some of these pillow sets to fit on the things perfectly. So a lot of stuff I kind of didn't do because I haven't figured out how to do raising the pillows up and down. It only lets you raise it up and down weirdly so far. And of course it doesn't reach where any of the couches that I use. So I kind of just only use those sets of pillows. Or I might do it for taking a photo, but when you pan around, it looks like they're floating, so I just don't end up using them. Now I was trying to do some kind of gallery, but I didn't want it to be overly done, so I think I ended up just choosing to do a few photos evenly spaced going down this main part of the wall. And then trying to do some kind of lighting just to brighten the space a tiny bit more. So as you can go there, you see it brightens up the space a tiny bit. So that kind of worked out well for that. And then you can see I wanted to put the same kind of benches, or I guess I don't know what you want to call it, like display tables out. So as I kind of went down the row, I hate how some of the lighting makes some stuff have like a little bit of a tint to it instead of pure white, but I guess you just have to live with it. It's trying to be realistic, I suppose. Now I'm trying to find lamps and plants to put there. I don't think I've used these plants, so I really like the way they looked. Trying to keep it symmetrical. I really like the way that looked. So I was kind of going there to figure out, do I want to have a double lamp? Do I want to have a candle instead? So I figured with the lights already there, I might as well do the candles. And then I decided to raise the artwork kind of custom height because it was either too high or too low. So I felt like this looked a little bit better. So that worked out pretty well. With it being such a straight line, it was a lot easier to measure it evenly because you can kind of just see the straight line of it. So that actually worked out pretty well compared to some of the other, parts in the house that you will see that took a lot longer to build. Coming up with kind of doors I wanted to do. This one's fit perfectly, so I decided to stick with that because I wanted to use the hall office doors. As you can see, I love those metal gate doors, but I didn't want to overuse it because I love the way they look so much. I didn't want them to kind of lose their impact by having them on all the doors, so I really tried to use them sparingly. Wanted to make like a little corner right next to the office, even though the other side I figured most people would want to wait at, but I figured it'd be a little bit more cute having some little kind of corner thing, waiting area to put here, like you're waiting outside of the office. Mainly just to have something filled right there. I didn't move in this because I think I ended up building something else here, so most of this ended up getting removed. But in general, for now though, for this video, it actually worked out pretty well. Trying to figure out what to do as far as a mirror. I need to get a lot more mirrors. That was one thing that I really didn't have on my list or already in the game that I liked, so I did write down that I need a lot more mirrors, artwork, all these kind of random things that were just kind of as you build the game, you're like, oh, I need this, I need that. So I keep a notepad next to me when I'm building and I write down the things that I don't have or that I want to add in the game to find for custom content. So it worked out pretty well though. This is actually honestly probably one of my favorite parts of the house, even though I guess it's the most underappreciated part because it's just a hallway technically. I really did kind of like, the way it came out. So now at this point, as you can see, I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do more artwork, if I wanted to do something different. So I kind of played around with it for a bit. And then I think I ended up deciding on doing a little mixture of art, but then I also wanted to do something with plants just to give it a little bit more dimension and just, I guess, customization to it. So I decided to put these little pretty built-in plant walls into it because I felt like it fit perfectly, and you can kind of make it sit there. You have to line them up perfectly to get that seam, but it works out pretty well. So definitely like a nice little cute area to be able to put some live plants in. So I definitely like the way it looked with having the artwork there. So kind of was debating if I wanted it to be smaller. So I think I ended up putting it smaller, even though now looking at it, I think I would have preferred the bigger piece of art, but I didn't want the entire wall to be filled, not be able to see the paint or the actual wall itself. So I decided to make it smaller, but then just kind of, adding in little random things, put a lamp in the corner, kind of just going through to see how everything looked. But yeah, now I'm just putting some rugs down, and that is virtually it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry for the delay. I actually originally was going to do a video every other day, and then I started doing it every day just because I had the time, but I wanted to kind of give people a chance to look at it and have something to look forward to. So I'm going to try to go back to doing a normal, release every other day, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, subscribe and follow me, and check out my socials at the end of this video, and have a good one.